Oh my goodness, my listeners, Beauty Pro podcast listeners, you are in for a treat because we are here today with Miss Mary Jenkins. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, can you tell everybody who you are, who you stand for, and why we should know you?
Okay, who I am. My name is Mary Jenkins, and I am the founder of a cancer organization called Cancer Option Collaborative, in which we have a fundraising campaign called Hairstyles and Beauty for Hope. So, if anybody attends any of the big hair shows, at some point you should have seen me. And you should know who I am because I'm really making a difference. Because all of us know someone that has battled cancer.
Hmm.
We know someone that's needed help. And so I'm bridging the gap between the world of cancer and the hair and beauty industry.
I love that. And you guys, I met Miss Mary at the PA Beauty Expo in May. And then I get to see her again in Orlando. And then I'm going to see her again in Tennessee, right?
Yes.
Yes, for the
But
beauty.
between now and then, I've got Vegas.
Oh my
IDS.
God.
Yeah,
Yes.
IDS Vegas.
Oh my goodness. So if you're in Vegas, you need to go see Miss Mary.
Yeah.
I got my free shirt that I just love to wear. I didn't wear it today, but I do wear it. But anyways. So Miss Mary, so you are also an ordained minister, right?
Yes. I,
Okay.
I have I have been involved with ministry for 30 years.
Whoa. Okay, so tell us a little bit about that. How do you kind of blend it all together?
How did it all come together? Well,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so at the beginning, because I did not grow up in church,
Okay.
I didn't have that. Sometimes they say you have a praying grandmama and all that. I didn't have none of that. I
Okay.
had life. I had I had a violent experience when I was 13 years old
Mm.
that resulted in a pregnancy, and I had an abortion. And that really changed my life because I started not thinking that I was like worth it or that anybody would want me and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I went on years later and had my oldest son, Edwin.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met a man. This is going to sound crazy. I met a man, got married, got pregnant, became a widow, and gave birth in 1 year.
Oh
Um,
Lord, I got
yes,
chills.
yes. So I got married at 19. My husband was 23 years old and he died on active duty in the military. So he was in the army.
Okay.
And at that time, I was in the army as well. And so I was just living my life.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, you were in the army too?
I was in the army. Yes,
Keep
stationed at
going.
Fort Dix
Oh
for basic
man.
training, and then Fort Drum in upstate New York. So yeah, so after my husband died, I moved down to Savannah, Georgia, where that's where he was from. So I figured I'd move there because his family was there, and I was like, okay, this could be cool. Didn't work out that way, and that's a whole story in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, I want a daughter. I need a little girl that looks just like me and can act like me. And so I tried to have another girl, and I got my third son, BJ. So I have three boys. And in the midst of all of that, I was still trying to find my way. I went to college and, did all that stuff, did all the stuff that I thought I was supposed to do. And so I met this lady. Actually, I won't even say I met her. I saw her from a distance. And
Hmm.
she was always talking about God this and God that and God the other. And I was like, she gonna bust hell right open. Um, because I was like, it doesn't take all that. It's like every time I turned around, I could hear her voice, Jesus this and Jesus that. And I was like, no, she is gonna go to hell. And so one day she was like, why are you intimidated by me? I'm like, first of all, I'm not intimidated by anybody. Because I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. And she was like, well, why don't you just take the time to get to know me?
Hmm.
So long story short, we ended up becoming best friends. And right. And she used to invite me to come to church. And I was like, I ain't going to church. I don't do that. Because church is them people.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be like that. And she was like, okay. So every Sunday she would invite me and I would say no. Well, this one Sunday, she was like, well, we're having a pastor appreciation dinner. And I was like, okay, is it at the church? And she said, no, it was in the fellowship hall. And I was like, oh, okay, okay, I can do that. I'll come to that. She got me.
Free
And if
food.
if she sees this, it's your fault, Kay. Um, so she saw. So Went to the dinner, had a great time. Then at the end of the dinner, they started flicking the light, like, we're gonna go across the street to the church because we got a great message. And I was like, I'm not, because I don't go to church. If
Right.
I go to church, if I go into a church, literally the building's gonna then this crumble, all hell's gonna break loose. If
Yeah.
I go to church, because I just was not that person. They told me I'd have to go anyway. So I sat in the back of the church sulking about the fact that here I am, I'm in a church. I'm looking around like I know somebody's going to come out of nowhere and they're going to get me because I'm in church. And then I don't know what the preacher was preaching, but whatever he was preaching touched my spirit so much so that in the middle of the service, I got up and walked down to the altar crying like a baby and was like, I need Jesus. And I had all that. And then after that, I was crazy. I became one of those people. And so if I
Uh-huh.
made eye contact with you, I need to know, do you know who Jesus is? Do you? And if you
I
don't, I can help you. And that started my ministry. And so everywhere I went, people was like, who is she? And what is she on? Because
yeah.
she got some type of energy that most people don't have. And it wasn't like I was faking it. It was real. So it was like, it's just what you
Yeah.
get. And
Yeah.
so years later, my youngest son and I were wrestling, and he accidentally elbowed me in the chest,
Oh yeah.
and it hurt. And so I was like, "Oh, you broke it," you know.
Yeah, yeah, you popped me.
And so I was like, I need to go to the hospital, and I need to really, because this was really, really hurting.
Oh
And so
yeah.
after a couple of days, I went to the emergency room, and they were like, "Well, we think we feel something," and I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "We think we feel something. We're going to recommend you go have a mammogram." And I'm like, "A mammogram? I didn't have no mammogram. I'm not 40. I'm in my
Right.
mid 30s. I still got it
Oh
going on."
Lord. Oh Lord. Oh man, I'm in
Right.
my 30s. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And so, but the thing was, there was something that was going on. And that
Yeah.
was the thing. If there's nothing going on, then you ain't got to worry about it. But if you got something going on, you need to go get checked.
Okay.
And so I went and had the mammogram done, and sure enough, they said they could see a mass. And so at that time I was a D cup. I'm not a D cup today because I wear prosthetics, but I was a D cup then. And in the center of the breast, you could feel like there was just this mass in the center. It was 4 centimeters.
Oh yeah.
And so they wanted to do a biopsy, and they did a biopsy. And when they looked at the sample, they said, yeah, it's breast cancer. And I was like, breast cancer? And for me, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know anybody black that had breast cancer. I just be real. And
Oh.
so I was like, black people get breast cancer. I ain't know. And so after I was like, man, and so it really taught me some stuff that, people don't always talk about stuff.
Right, right.
And so I went through the process, had to go through chemotherapy, all my hair fell out and had to go through that. I was still trying to go to work. And then one day, because I would get really hot when I was going through chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I would go to work, I would lay down on their marble floor because it was cool.
Oh.
And one day somebody, reported me being on the floor. And my boss was like, you're a liability because if somebody falls over on you, then we got to pay. Blah, blah, blah. And so they fired me.
For laying on
And
the floor? They didn't even give you
so,
like a warning, like,
didn't get no
stop.
warning because I was already in treatment anyway. So it was my the days I was taking off work and my production of and all that stuff was
All
was
right.
going down anyway. So they laid me off, and I was like, that's okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna become the new face of the Komen Foundation, because Komen Foundation needs some black people. They do all these commercials, and they need some energy, and so they need some, and I'm gonna be that person.
They need
And so
some
I went to them and
energy.
I told them. I did. I told them, I said, because I'm mixed, so it's not like
Oh,
I'm mixed. So
but
I'm
it's
like,
so funny. It's so funny. No, they needed some energy. I needed to bring some spice to their life, some flavor.
exactly. I was like, because just because you diagnosed with cancer doesn't mean it doesn't have to be a death sentence.
Right.
Part of, the way that you mentally process a diagnosis can have an effect on your body. And so I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I'll learn this, the Nancy Brinker story and the Susan G. Komen story. I'll learn all that, and then I will be your voice. I will go out there and I will let people know, that we want to eradicate breast cancer as a life-threatening disease. I'll do all that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I went through all my savings,
Mm.
and I needed help paying a bill.
Yeah.
And I figured, well, I'm a speaker. I'm trained. I should be able to go to the Coleman Foundation and get some help.
Yeah.
So I went to them and asked them, could they help me pay my bills? And they said they didn't do that. And I was like, what do you mean?
What?
So
Okay.
I'm helping you guys get awareness out there, and you guys are raising millions of dollars. And you mean the money doesn't go to like to help people that actually have cancer pay bills? That
So
did
where does
not.
it go? Where does the money
It,
go?
so it goes to fund like cancer research
Oh,
and stuff like that. And if people
okay.
need gas cards to get back and forth to treatment, but I was like, hell, why you gonna give me a gas card to get back and forth to treatment when I'm hiding my car because I can't pay the car note?
Mm-hmm.
You know that
Right, right,
that
right.
I had that type of thinking, and they were like, "Well, Miss Jenkins." I became Miss Jenkins then, and I was like, "No." First, I was just Mary, and then I was like Miss Jenkins, and I was like, "This
Uh,
just doesn't make any sense. Somebody has to do something." Because I was like, "I need help paying the bill," and I was gonna find help.
yeah.
And I started look. I mean, I went to the American Cancer Society, the Pink Ribbon Girls, the you name it. I went to all these places, and no one could give me the help that I needed. Not a person. 20 years ago, not a person. And so now I got an attitude. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well,
Yeah.
me and God got to talk. Because last
Yeah.
I knew, he's a provider and I'm about to lose stuff and this doesn't make any sense.
That's
So I
right.
called my pastor. Can I
Mhm.
can I come to the church and have a conversation with God? And you can talk to God anywhere. No, no. I need to talk to him in his house. And he was like, okay, Mary, because I'm that person.
I
I'm that
love it.
real.
No, but I love it. Real and raw. That's what we're here
Real
for.
and raw. And so I got to the church and I had a whole heated conversation in the sanctuary, like, God, you're supposed to be my snotting up
Yeah.
and everything. And
Yep.
I went in saying that it didn't make sense to me.
Hmm.
And I did what I didn't know was that the leaders were at the church
Of course.
and they heard.
Of
And
course.
of course they came in and was like, what's going on, MJ? What's going on?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this I'm about to, have my stuff cut off. I risk being evicted because I don't have any money. I'm not working. I've been laid off and I don't have any way to pay the bills. I mean, yeah, I got income from my husband dying, but I also worked a full-time job. And so my household income was cut in half and I still got bills to pay and I got kids and they're gonna
Hmm.
suffer. So I had all that going on.
Hmm.
And so here goes my pastor. Well, you've been a faithful member and you're a tither, and we love you. And anything we could ever ask of you, you always do. So, how about you let the church take care of your bills for you the rest of the time you're in treatment? Really, Pastor? So, I'm snotting up everything. And I'm like, that's good for me, but what about everybody else? What
Yeah.
about the other people that need help? Who's going to help
Yeah, that's what
them?
we do. That's what we do.
Right. And
Yeah.
my pastor said, I don't know them. We know you. And I was like, but somebody has got to be that person that can help people know where money does and doesn't go in the world of cancer and help people. Somebody, Pastor. And he was like, right, Mary. And I, right, Pastor. And he said, Mary. And I was like, not me. I
Yeah.
mean, I know I was making a suggestion, but not me.
Right.
And he said, why not? Just tell your story. And so for the last literally 20 years, I have been sharing my story about the fact that I was diagnosed with stage 3, almost stage 4, triple negative breast cancer.
Oh, yeah.
And I got laid off work while going through chemo, and I needed help paying the bills, and I couldn't find nobody. And so I created the organization that would be the help. And so I did that 20 years ago. And at that time, we were called Christians Overcoming Cancer. Because I was like, me and my church, we Christians, and we're
Right.
overcoming cancer. But
Yeah.
then you had those people that were like, well, what about the Jewish and the Catholics and the Muslims? I'm like, really? Really? We doing that? Because we're not discriminating. We don't
Cancer
care.
doesn't discriminate.
Correct. And
That's
so,
right.
I had to take it to God. Okay, God, now look, this is what's going on.
I
And
love
I'm
it.
about tired of having to explain to people what the COC means and then have to explain that we work with saints, ain'ts, and others. And so it's like, it was crazy. And so I was like, Lord, give me another name. And so he
Yeah.
did. He gave me Cancer Option Collaborative. And so we rebranded, and
Okay.
that's who we are today.
Wow. Wow. I love this. Okay. Everybody listening and watching, we're going to have the links in the show notes. But okay. So that's so cool. So it became a call of obedience or a call
Yes,
to
absolutely.
obedience. That's
It was an
amazing.
absolute, because I was like, this is crazy, but I will tell you, I knew that it was what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. I had to go to a chemo treatment. So
Mm-hmm.
they had plugged me up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they had the thing they put in it. So I was getting my chemo through my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to see this couple of what on the other side of the room. And the woman was getting chemo, and there was a man that was knelt down next to her, and he was crying. And I was like, that's odd. I don't usually see that. I wonder
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with them. You know, because
Yeah.
I'm that person.
Yep. Yep.
And so after they unhooked me, I got up and I went over to them. It's like, hi, you know, I saw you crying. I'm sorry, but I'm sure it's going to get better because, you know, yeah, we can pray. And the man was like, this is my wife. And, she gets sick after treatment. And I was like, most people do.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, that she would get so sick after treatment that they couldn't go home. So they lived
Oh.
in another city. They actually lived in Lima, Ohio, and they
Uh-huh.
would come into Columbus for treatment. And then what they normally would do is stay overnight and then go home the next day so that she could rest. Well, he was crying because he had just told her that they didn't have any money and there was no way that they could get a hotel room to stay overnight and that they were going to sleep in the car.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Why he told me that. So now let me help
Yeah.
you. So I
Yeah.
used to carry a purse that just had money in it. Because as I would go and tell people about, the fact that
Wow.
money wasn't really going to help people that had cancer, people
Mm-hmm.
were like, well, I don't want to give to the American Cancer Society and it doesn't go to help the people. Can I just give it to you? Sure. You can give
Mm-hmm.
the money to me because my church is paying my bills. So what I'll do is I'll just find someone else to give it to. So I was collecting money everywhere I went
Wow.
and then finding people that were in treatment, give it to them. So on that day, I reached in my purse. I don't know how much I gave them. I have no idea. All I know
Okay.
is that I had cash and I
Okay.
gave it to them. And he was like, "Oh," and then he started cussing. Oh, and I was like, Jesus, you know. And they were like, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
God bless you. God bless you." And when I walked away, I said to the Lord that I could do this for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow. That is the big, okay. So if I'm being real, like I have had those thoughts like, man, yeah, I should donate more to places. But then I don't know, I feel like it doesn't go where it needs to. I feel like I should just take whatever my donation was and just go to a hospital room and just give it to them, like right then and there. I see who's getting it and they're going to use it. And that's exactly what you just did.
Well, so I tell you, so when I started the organization, we had to go through getting our 501(c)(3), and they would ask questions. They were like, do you have an application? How are you going to choose who gets the money, and then
Uh-huh.
what you going to do? And I was like, I would think about it, and I was like, if someone gave me a check for $1,000 and said this $1,000 is supposed to go for your electric bill, your gas bill, and your water bill,
Uh-huh.
I would take the check and say thank you,
Uh-huh.
and then I would go to the bank and I would deposit it, and then I probably would order pizza and fill my
Right.
car up with gas.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
do other stuff
Right.
than what they gave it to me for because
Right.
how would they know? And
Yeah.
so since I knew that I would probably do, I said, what, we gonna make it so people don't have to lie. We
Okay.
gonna just pay bills. So when people they get referred to us from all the cancer organizations know who we are. So people get referred to us. They fill out their application, providing all the details, and then we verify that they are in fact in active treatment.
Hmm.
And then we verify what their request is, because sometimes we'll get people that say my electric bill is $900, and they go cut my electric off unless I come up with $900. And then we call, and it'd be no, they only got to pay $175.
Hmm.
So we
Mm.
verify that, and then we'll make the
Okay.
payment. And it's like, mm-hmm. And so, and it's not that people get emotionally caught up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, and we get some people that they've been in debt before they got diagnosed, and then want to come to us and expect us like, okay, you haven't paid your car note in 2 months, and now you got diagnosed, and
Hmm.
now you're asking us to pay 3 months car note,
Hmm.
but 2 of the months you weren't in active treatment.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. It
So
don't
how
work like
so
that.
so how did you get involved with the hair world?
Great question.
Okay. Okay.
So I was at a space where I was like, we were originally providing services to breast cancer patients only.
Uh-huh.
And then a woman got referred to us that needed $150 or her car was going to get repossessed. And I was like, oh, absolutely. We can help you with that. What type of breast cancer do you have? And she said she didn't have breast cancer. She had cervical cancer. And I was like, I'm sorry. You had the wrong type of cancer. We can't help you, which in the moment was crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, did I just tell you you had the wrong type of cancer to get help? That is a problem. That don't even make sense. Now, what? When she's like, it's okay. Everyone does stuff for breast cancer patients. I was like, no, it's not okay. I'm a breast cancer survivor and I'm now pissed because this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, how am I going to tell you you got the wrong type of cancer? What is the right type of cancer to get help? And
Right.
she was like, I understand. I was like, oh my God. And for me, it was like, the light came on. It was like, oh, wow, God, I'm sorry. I missed it. I
Wow.
limited it to just breast cancer
Oh,
when
it
really it
hurts.
just needs to be all cancer. So I called all my board members.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to tell someone they had the wrong type of cancer ever again in life.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, are you sure? Yes. Okay. I never want to tell someone. In my mind, I meant in Columbus, Ohio, but we didn't say that. And so we just changed our mission to include all cancers. Well, the American Cancer Society found out. And then next thing you know, we're getting applications from Georgia and Texas and New York and Pennsylvania and Chicago. I mean, we're getting from all over the country. And I'm like, well, I can't tell people that they live in the wrong city to get help. I can't do that. I
Oh
can't tell them
my,
they have the wrong type of cancer. I can't tell them they live in the wrong city. I can't. We got to figure it out. I don't know how we're going to figure it out, but we got to figure it out.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I reached out to the IRS because I was like, they should know. And the charitable division was like, well, you should come up with a way to be self-sustaining as a nonprofit. What do you mean? Figure out a way to have funds come in outside of grants. And I was like, well, I don't like grants, no way. So like I would just
Sure.
ask people, and I can ask people, either people are going to say yes or they're going to say no. But if I don't ask, the
Mm-hmm.
answer will be no. So I said I was going to figure out a way to ask people for donations.
Okay.
Didn't know how. That weekend, we were having holy convocation in church, and it was in Dallas, Texas. And so I'm flying to Dallas because I felt I'm going to church. I'm spending a week with the Lord, and maybe the Lord will speak to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I check into the hotel where we're staying at, and it's a hotel conference center. And so check in the hotel, and I'm like, now I'm gonna go to my room, and I'm gonna walk to the hotel and see who all's here.
Yeah.
And I walked through, and I'm walking down the hall, like down the main lobby area. And this guy walks past me, and he stops and turns around. He says, "Are you Mary Jenkins?"
What? Okay.
Yes. And he says, "It's me, Chris." And I'm like, "Chris?" And he said, "From Facebook." Oh, Chris, yeah, yes. Hey, Chris, how you doing? What you doing here? I'm here for a barber expo. What is that? Come with me. Okay. And so I go in this room and there's like 2,000 people there. And I'm like,
Oh.
what is this? There's vendors. I mean, I'm like, what is this? And he said, look, listen to the guy that's getting on stage. And it was Curtis Smith from the Exotics, the brand
Nice.
Exotics. So
Uh-huh.
he was getting up there telling his story about how when he first became a barber, he had gotten diagnosed with cancer. And if it hadn't have been for his friends helping him pay his bills, he wouldn't be a celebrity barber. And at that time, he was Usher's barber.
Oh
I was like,
man.
really, God, you can't get no better. And so
Uh-huh.
when he got done, Chris was like, come on, let me introduce you. But so we ended up meeting. I couldn't hear him. And I was like, can I give you my card? And he said, I'm gonna give you my card. And I'm like, okay. And I said, just call me.
Right.
And so like 2 months passed and I didn't hear anything from him. But I stored his number in my phone as answer no matter what.
Okay.
Because I was like,
Yeah.
he cut Usher's hair.
Yeah, right.
I'm listening to Usher on the radio. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so 2 months later, Curtis calls me. Phone rings and I'm like, oh my God, it's him.
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
he calls and he was like, I've been checking you out. Check them out, what you're doing. And I think that's great. Is there any way we can tie what you do into the hair and beauty, the hair industry?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, when you're going through chemo, you'd lose your hair. And he was like, yeah. And I said, they do the big chop and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah. And he said, so if you had a program, what would you call it? Hairstyles for Hope? And he was like, yeah, I like that. I was like, I like that too, because it happened in the moment. And he
Yeah.
said, so, and he said, what would that be? I said, well, it could be a partnership with the hair industry to raise money to help people that are battling cancer pay their bills. He liked it. I loved it. Okay. And then he
Oh,
said, and then he was like, would you be willing to come to Atlanta to, I'm having a round table, and would you come to Atlanta to talk to some people? Sure. I know what I was doing, but I said yes.
mm-hmm.
Got on a plane, flew down to Atlanta, did not know what I was doing. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We didn't, no, we drove. We drove from Ohio to Atlanta.
Every mile, you're like, Lord, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing. Okay.
Exactly. And everybody's like, Mary, you sure? Nope. But I'm gonna do this. Apparently this is the next step. I don't even know.
If
And
anything,
so,
I'll just get some sweet tea on my way down. But in any case,
hey, okay, some of that. Stop there and stop for breakfast. Stop at Hardee's and get some cinnamon and raisin biscuits.
that's it.
Geez, don't get me started. And so we drove down there. And so at the day, and he had reserved a whole restaurant. I want to say it might. God, it's been so long. I think it was Gladys Knight's restaurant or somebody that
Wow.
owned a restaurant,
Okay.
and it was like all of the who of who was there, and then there
Wow.
was me and my friend that drove down there. And I'll never forget. Curtis got on the stage and he was like, hey, everybody, I'm glad that you're here. But before we get started, I want to let you know that there is a woman that you guys need to know. And she's taking the industry by storm, and you need to hear everything that she has to say, and you need to support what she's got going on. So I'm thinking, who is he talking about?
Yeah, like who's
Because
this woman?
I need her on my team. We gonna do this. It's like that. That's who I need. And he turned to me and said, come on up here, Mary Jenkins. And I was like, okay. Okay.
Wow. 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 Wow.
And that started it. So, and I was like, hey, everybody, my name is, and I am D, and this is what I'm doing. And the way you can help is by making a donation.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
And then ever since then, every hair show all the time. Oh
My God,
my.
so the next day I ended up going to the actual show because I had never been to a hair show before.
Oh my
And
God, I love it.
It was a Bronner Brothers show. So I'm walking
Yeah.
through there like, I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about shampoo, conditioner, creams, lotions, jellies, spritz, shears, all that. I know nothing about that. None of that. They had makeup. I mean, you name it, everything. They had everything. And I was just like, oh my God. And I'm walking through there, and it was so crazy when I got to meet one of the Bronner brothers, James
Oh.
Bronner. I met him, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you're like
Okay.
him, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking,
Yeah.
here's little old me, and you're him. And
Yeah.
people were like, oh, wanting to get pictures with him. I didn't know the magnitude of who he was. And
Yeah.
then, I walked away, walking through the show. I see another guy and I hear the Lord say, go talk to him. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Because I don't want him to think I'm trying to holler him. He got all them women around him. I don't know who he is. He handsome and all. But I'm not trying to, no, no. I looked up and he was gone. And I was like, okay, God,
Oh.
I done told you no, Lord. My bad, Jesus.
Yeah.
If you show him to me again, I will say something to him. And so I'm about an hour or so past, and then there he was again. I was like, oh, now I got to go talk to him.
You're like,
And so,
man.
right. And so I went up to him and I was like, this is going to sound crazy. I saw you earlier. The Lord told me to talk to you. And I said I wasn't because didn't want you to think I'm trying to holler at you. But who are you? And he was like, my name is Bernard. I was like, Bernard who? Bernard Bronner. And I'm like,
Oh.
so now I've met another one. And I'm like, oh, and it's an amazing story. But I ended up meeting the whole Bronner family. And they were like, what are you doing and how can we support you? Do you think I can get a booth? One of these booths where, at
Wow.
your next show where, I could, have people come and they could make donations. Absolutely, Mary. I had no idea that was going to be the beginning of everything because,
Wow.
you know, when you end up on the Bronner Brothers stage, people are like, who is that?
Mm.
And so for the first couple of shows, I was chicken. I
Mm.
wasn't getting on stage because I'm like, who am I? And look at all these hairstyles and look at all these people. And they all, they this, they that, and they getting
Yeah, yeah.
awards and
Yeah.
everything was just, it just blew my mind. And then there was education, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to do not call shears scissors. They're not scissors, they're shears. And so it's like,
You're
so
right, all this.
I was learning all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God. And then Bronner Brothers, they decided to have the show in New Orleans. And
Okay.
when they had the show in New Orleans, that's when they filmed the um oh my God, what is it? The Netflix show, We Are
Oh.
Champions. So it's episode
Oh.
3. It's the hair
Okay.
the hair show. It's the fantasy competition. So they were filming, everything was set up, Netflix was all there, and they had everybody. And then James's wife, Stephanie, came and was like, Mr. Bronner would like to see you. And I was like, for what? I'm like, did I do something wrong? And she's like, no, he just wants to see you. And so I went and I found him, and he was like, Mary, it's time. And I'm like, time for what? And he pointed to the main stage, and I was like, now it's
Miss
cool.
Mary, are you on Netflix?
No, I didn't get
Oh,
it.
oh, okay.
No, no, no. Look, I thought
Okay.
I was. I just knew I was like, I'm gonna be part of Netflix. I ain't make the show.
Dang. It's
I
okay.
made the main stage.
Yes, you
And
did.
being on the main stage opened the
Mm.
door because that there what I learned is that, all the heads of the shows go to each other's show. And so
Wow.
they were like, who is she? Who is that? Who
Uh-huh.
she doing what? Raising money to help people battling cancer? Okay, does anybody know her? How can we get her at our show?
Hmm.
And then the next thing you know, I'm at CT Barber Expo. I'm
I
at
love it.
Premiere.
Mhm.
I'm at all the Premiere show. Premiere, or I was in
Yeah.
Premiere Columbus, and then I met the vice president at the time, and he was like, "Oh, you got to come to Orlando," and I'm like, "Ain't never been, sure." And
Yeah.
so then I went to Orlando, and then it's like all of the shows. And then I was at one of the shows, and gentleman by the name of Adam Tran,
Mhm.
who he's like a visionary behind the UV light thing that
Okay.
dries the nail,
Yep,
acrylic
yep,
nails.
yep.
He came to me and he was like, "So, Hairstyles for Hope is great, but what about the rest of the industry?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? There's
Yeah.
there's more?"
Right, right. Like, isn't this it? Like, what are you
Right?
talking
Isn't this it? And he was like, well, no, there are other types of shows. And I'm like, I had no idea because all I knew then was Bronner Brothers.
about?
And it was
Hmm.
like, okay, and CT Barber Expo. It was like, okay,
Yep.
those were my babies.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, there's other shows. And so he said, you need to find a way to include the beauty industry. And so I'm like, hairstyles and beauty for hope.
Just add a word. That's fine.
You just add it on.
I
It
love it.
hairstyles and beauty for hope. It works. And then it's like, oh man. So then of course I meet the who's who of who, and I'm like, oh my God. So all of I mean, from you name it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I ran down the list of people whose cell phone numbers that I have and I talk to on a
Yeah.
regular basis, you'd be like, what? And I'm like,
Yeah.
right. And they all look out for me, because
I
they're like,
love
Mary,
that.
what show you gonna be at? We're gonna be there too. If you need anything, let me know. And I'm
Hmm.
like, just, stop by, and if you want to make a donation.
Yeah. Ching ching. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. So
Okay.
then, so that has been my thing, and so
That's so cool.
that's actually how I met Tracy
Uh-huh.
last year at Premiere Columbus, and she was like, "Oh, you've got to come to my show." And I was like, "You have a show? What's your show?" And so she
Uh-huh.
told me, and I was like, "I never heard of it." She was like, "I know," and I was like, "Well, you know what? Focus on education," and I'm big on education because there are some people in the industry that do not educate well. Don't get me started.
We will
Um,
not.
we can do another
We'll do
episode for that
another
because
one. An
I would say
exclusive.
I I get it. By me being on the outside and looking in, I understand quality education, and I understand that people are just trying to get you to buy their product.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. And unfortunately it happened. And so when she told me that she was big on education, I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to go to this show. I'm
Yeah.
about to. I'm about to. And then it
Yeah.
just so happened, not knowing that, she was going to end up being diagnosed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Another God
Right.
thing. Another God
Right.
thing.
And
Wow.
it was so crazy. She was like, I want to raise $2,000. And I'm like, okay, we can do it. If that's what you want to do, that's what I want to do. Let's make it happen. And then, we reached the goal on the first day. And I was like, this has never happened in all the years that, we got time left and we still fundraising. And so we raised the goal to 3,000. And then the next day by noon, we were already at 3,000 because people did things like, I had some family members that, battled cancer, and this $300 donation is for them. Or one young lady, which I won't say her name because she said asked me not to tell it. She came up and she made a 500. It was $575 donation.
Wow.
And I mean, so folks had me crying at that show because I'm like, oh my God, this is absolutely incredible. And so by the time it was over and done with, 2 days,
Yep.
it was almost $4,500 that was raised.
Yes.
Oh my God. And I'm like, there, because I'm be honest, and I had yet to have this conversation with Tracy. So Tracy, if you are seeing this, this is for you. Um, the show that I got to witness was so incredible because it wasn't just industry professionals coming together. It was a community for real.
Mm.
There was, I mean, the vibe it was some real love, real compassion, real what I got to do to make myself better so that I can grow in this industry. It was real. It was
Wow.
real. It was real. It was real. I attend shows that don't be a place.
Wow.
There are some shows
Wow.
that is not it. They want they about one thing. I'm here to get my money. I'm here to buy my product. There I had somebody one time. They, told them about what we were doing, that we were raising money. And they had money. So they
Mm-hmm.
had cash, they had hundreds, 50. So they pulled their wad out, went
Mm-hmm.
through it, and pulled out two $1 bills. And then they said to me, it's better than nothing, ain't it? And I was like, I am saved for real. I know Jesus. But
Give me
I
that
mean,
wad.
I was thankful for it.
Sure.
Hmm.
Sure.
But
But
I was like, wow, because people will go to some of the shows and they will spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars
I've done
on,
it.
and I get it. I get it that you're there to buy your equipment, you're there to buy your product, you're there to further your business. I get it. But when you have a show that has a charity component and we're raising money, and you will go and spend five, six, seven, eight, 900 thousands of dollars and then come and bring your crumbs, your leftovers. It's like, what does that say about the person's heart?
Oh, that's deep. That's something. Then the audacity to just, oh, this 100 is not for you. Oh,
Right.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Right.
that.
Yes.
So okay, that's an insult for sure. But what has been your biggest insult that is now like your driving force that you just love that you got that insult?
Oh, wow. It would have to say, I got two. I got two.
Okay.
One was a lady. She made a $5 donation. She had a $5 bill. And I
Uh-huh.
thought she was going to make a $5 donation.
Oh my God. I'm
She
so
asked
scared.
me, she asked me, could I give her $3 back?
Lord have mercy.
But then asked me would I write a receipt for the $2.
Oh man.
I was like, oh God. I mean, and whenever those moments happen, I'm like, ooh, I know I have some unusual patience. Because I mean, and this woman, she was serious. She stood there and waited for me. And I mean, I carry a receipt book,
Yeah.
but she wanted the receipt so that she could write off the $2 on her taxes. And so I was like, you know what? for every person that there is like that, there's somebody out there that wants to write a donation for $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then my second one, it
Hmm.
was a gentleman. His name is Paul,
Hmm.
and I would see Paul all over the country. He'd be like, I'm watching you, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, are you watching me because you want to make a donation? I
Right,
mean,
right, right.
because everybody that knows if I show up at a show, I am there for the organization. I'm there to raise money to help people
Right.
battling cancer. I mean, I'm not competing in their competition because everybody will be bald.
Mm.
'Cause I can't do nothing else. And
Yeah.
so he came up to me and he was like, "Girl, keep doing what you're doing. I
Oh,
see your hustle. I see your grind. And I'm gonna do
yeah.
something that probably nobody else has ever done." And I was like, "Okay."
Hmm.
And he made a $1,000 donation.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, forever, forever.
Oh, I
So yeah,
love
and
that.
so I never know. I definitely do not judge
Hmm.
what people choose to do. That's their choice. It's between them and God.
That's right.
Because I remember we had one person, he was actually battling brain cancer. So he
Mm.
was in active treatment at a show.
Oh, Lord.
And he came up and he was like, "Would it be okay if I made $100 donation?"
Mm.
I
Yeah.
said, "Sure." And then
Yeah.
he said, and I didn't know his story. So he asked me, could he make $100 donation? And I'm thinking, sure, I'm not going to tell you no, man.
Hmm.
If you want to do it, you like it, I love it.
Hmm.
And so when he was signing his name on the banner, he looked up at me and he said, "I'm doing this now because I may not be able to do it in the
Oh,
future."
Lord. Oh, Lord.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And then he told me he was battling cancer. And I was like, "You're in treatment?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm in treatment." And I was like, "So let me give you our information in case, we can help you."
Yeah.
He said, "No, no, I'm good. I'm good. Financially, I'm good. But I want to make this donation just in case
That
I'm
kills
not here."
me. Like,
Right.
how
And
do
I'm
you not
thinking,
cry all the time? How do you not cry all the time? Or
did you
are
not
you, you're crying
did
all
you
the
not
time?
wait. Did you not see me in Pennsylvania
Well,
slobbering and boohooing?
no.
All the time. Let me tell
Okay.
you, at every single show, every single show, every single show, every single show, there is someone that comes to tell their story.
Oy.
I will never forget the woman, and I think I need to follow up with her if I'm talking about her.
Okay. Yep.
Um, Angela.
Mhm.
She came, actually, I met her at Premiere San Antonio.
Okay.
She came to the show and when she walked up and saw that we were raising money for cancer, she immediately turned red. So she was Hispanic, and she
Okay.
started turning red. And so I looked at her. I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "No, no." And immediately then I'm like, "I don't care about donations now. I need to know what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on."
yeah.
And she was like, I can't." And so I was like, "Well, come here." And I gave her a big hug, and she
Yeah.
started weeping in my arms. And she just kept on, kept on. And then when she got to a non aggressively weeping space, she told me that she had been to a show and seen me the year before with her son, but
Oh
that her
no.
son, oh God,
Oh
her
Lord.
son had gotten diagnosed with cancer and had passed away.
Oh.
And she was not planning on coming to the show, but she was like, maybe I'll see that lady. I
Mm.
was done. And so she
Yeah.
crying, I'm crying,
Mm-hmm.
so them
Mm-hmm.
taking a picture, doing selfie.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I send her the picture so that way I had her phone number so I could stay in contact. So I
Yeah.
have so many people's phone numbers and I stay in contact with them so I know, you know,
Yeah.
your brother was battling cancer. How's your brother? Your
Mm.
mom was battling, or your mom just recently passed away, or your dad just peacefully passed away. How you doing? Just checking on you. Just checking.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
battling cancer. Oh my God. Can you
Yeah,
send me
yeah.
your address so I can send you my book? And
Yeah.
so I have a book that's called Destined to Overcome because I believe we are all destined to overcome whatever we face.
That's
We just
right.
need some help to get there.
That's
So,
right. Oh my goodness. I want that link to your book because it's going in the notes. Okay.
okay.
We're talking all about these major life things. Obviously, it's cancer. But what's a struggle? And we talked, and you shared your story just at the beginning of the show. But What's a struggle that you're going through right now?
You just want one of them?
Yeah, honey, go
So,
ahead, list it out. We got
yeah.
time.
So when I got so I had battled cancer twice.
Okay.
And the second time I did 8 months of chemo in 3.5 months and almost killed myself. Put me in
Mm,
heart failure. So I am in continuous heart failure. Um, Earlier last year, it got so bad that my heart doctor restricted me from traveling for a couple of months because my heart needed to recover.
okay.
Then at the beginning of this year, I started having difficulty breathing again and was having, big headaches. And I'm like, I'm still traveling, but I will travel with my ibuprofen.
Right.
And so I was doing that, came back. So that was, at the beginning of the year, February. I'm like, something's got to be wrong. I got toothache now.
Mm,
Oh, let me go. And went and got toothache checked. Couldn't find out it was the starting of an infection. Got the infection taken care of. We thought we did.
mm-hmm.
But then it ended up coming back later and greater to the point where I had to have all of my teeth removed. And so in April, I had to
That's
have
right.
18 teeth removed. They went in and cut the gums
Right.
because I had infection in the top and in the bottom. And then they found that I had damaged bone, so they had removed bone in my jaw. And they told me that it was going to be 3 to 4 months before I could speak. And I was like, I don't have 3 to 4 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but that doesn't sit well with me. So
Right.
what I
You're
need to
wrong.
do, right? What I need to do that me and God gonna talk,
Uh-huh.
and we're gonna come up with a time frame, and we'll go from there. And they're like, mm-hmm. Like three to four
Yeah.
months, Mary, because you got to learn how to speak, and you got to learn how to swallow, and you got to learn how to all this. Mm-hmm. Me and God gonna talk,
Yep.
and I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
God and I came up with an agreement of 2 weeks.
Okay.
It worked for me. I was like, okay. So I said, so in 2 weeks' time, and we were planning on doing the surgery in August. And I was like, okay, so in August, I got this window, I can do
Yeah.
this, and then I can recover, and I got 2 weeks. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But then I told him, I said, if you guys come up with a, cancellation, just let me know so I can get it in there. And lo and behold, they called me the next day. We have a cancellation for Friday. And I was like, wait a minute, today's Thursday. And they're like, yes, if you can come in tomorrow. And I was like, you know what? Bet. Okay, we got 2 weeks. I'm
There.
coming in. So
Uh,
I had it done. I went in on
wow.
April 25th, and when I had my next appointment, which was 11 days later, I was speaking, and they were surprised. I had figured out because I needed to eat, and because
Mm-hmm.
I mean I lost so much weight. I lost like 20 pounds, which I'm totally happy about. Um,
Yeah.
But I had to get them because I had a show. So I missed going to the Heb show, which, I was like, oh man, I missed the Heb show. And, I love Nicole and that's her
Mhm.
first, I'm like, I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
But I was on pain meds. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I,
you know,
I, I
take a
was
break.
popping pain meds. I needed.
Yeah.
But at 11 days, and they were like, well, Mary, you're doing okay. I said, good, because I've got to be in Pennsylvania.
Oh my goodness, this was all happening.
This was all happening. And so, yeah. Mhm. So people that actually engaged with me in Pennsylvania would see me take my denture out
Hmm.
because it,
Yes.
I just wasn't used to it. And it was
Yeah.
causing me to choke. And I was like, you know what? Hold on.
So let me
And so I
share
take it
with
out.
you. Let me share with you. We were there at the PA Beauty Expo, and that I think it was like the first night, or maybe it was the lunch. I don't remember. But my first impression of you that happened was, "Hi, my name is Mary. I have no teeth and no titties, and I'm here to talk to you about." I'm like, "Who is this?"
Right. But I mean, it's the truth. I'm not, because I'm like,
I
what you
love
see
it.
is what you get.
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
and it's crazy. So and so now, so I have, they've said I have diabetes. And so I'm like,
Okay.
God, so now I got to watch how I eat. Which, okay, other people are like, what are your numbers? And I'm like, my glucose number would be like 500. And they're like, no, Mary,
You can't have
no,
that.
that's not good. And I'm like, what? And they're like, we don't know how you living because 500 is like critical, which
Yeah.
I get it. And so we're working on that.
Okay.
But I saw my endocrinologist and I was like, look, let me tell you, we got to get me right because I can't be having no teeth, no tits, and no toes. I mean, I just can't. And she was like, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna get you right. We're gonna make sure
Okay.
you live. And I'm like,
Okay.
seriously.
All right,
Because
Miss Mary. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Um, what is time is leaving, but what is how can people like get in contact with you? How can they work with you? How can they,
So
you know what I mean?
people, if people want to have a conversation, they can call me. My number is 614-805-1253. The denture was slipping.
Uh-huh.
They can call me or they can email me, Mary at thecoccares.org. So thecoccares.org. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
All the things.
Apparently I'm on Threads too, which I don't even know how to get to that, but I'm on that too. Um,
Okay.
I'm on TikTok, so I became TikTok famous overnight, and that's a whole nother story.
Oh
And so yeah, you
my.
can reach out to me, and I am really me. Like I don't have somebody else managing my social media like that.
Oh,
No,
no.
you really get me.
Yeah. All right. So now, what is a question that I did not ask you that you wish I would have, and how would you have answered?
What is a question? What is a question that you did not ask me that I wish you had asked me?
Hmm.
Hmm, got it.
Okay.
A question that I would have wished that you asked was if I thought you were going to be in Columbus for the premiere Columbus show.
Okay. And what's your answer?
Mhm.
What's your answer?
And my answer would have been I hope so because moments with you are amazing
I
and
love
people
it.
need to understand who you are and what it is that you're doing. And so yeah, I would hope that you're going to be in.
So I am working on it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. So what else? We touched on everything. Oh, how's your son? Your son is in the hair industry.
My son is in California and he works with the Beyonce's new brand,
Sacred, sacred.
Sacred,
Okay.
Sacred. So he's been traveling on tour
Okay.
with them doing that. So
All right.
he's,
Okay.
he's he's doing this thing. Look him up, Some Daily Joe on Instagram.
All right. We will.
It's been an experience. So he used to be on the TV show Siesta Key. And now he's doing his thing and I'm so proud of him. So
Okay. Okay. Shout out to you, son.
yes, well,
Anyway.
I got so shout out to Edwin and Candace and my grandkids, Ethan and Jude, or Jude and Ethan, because Jude is older, and my son BJ, who he is the one that gets to say God used him to save my life because had he never elbowed me in the chest, there's no telling
That's
when I would have found
right.
out.
That's right.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. If you are listening and you're watching this episode, you have to go reach out to Mary. You got to go see her at the next hair show, the next beauty show, barber show, whatever. Go find her and make your donations. And thank you for being on the show, Miss Mary.
Thank you for having me.